Have you ever felt like you just didn't fit in at a certain event? Maybe it was just a lunch. Maybe it was because of your age, your skin color, the way you felt that day even, and just felt left out. I can tell you probably you have. And today's guest is going to discuss diversity in the workplace and including others despite our differences. In fact, our differences make us special. They make us important. And we need to address these and we need to accept these because today's guest is an expert in this field. Her name is Dr. Tammy. Dr. Tammy is a psychologist as well as she's a coach on textured hair. And today we're going to talk about textured hair in the workplace because discrimination actually takes place even today because of somebody's hair. And at first, this was hard for me to understand because I don't know. I have straight hair. I'm a white woman. I don't even consider these things. And it was a real good discussion with Tammy because I was easily, and you will find you will easily put yourself into these stories that she shares with us and understand where that discrimination takes place. I invite you to listen today with an open heart and an open mind and understand that inclusion is something we want to take place in corporate wellness and enjoy this awesome episode. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kathie Owen.
First of all, great day, great day. Thank you so much, Kathie, for having me on your show. What an awesome opportunity this is for me. I'm so excited to be with you and to share about how we honestly being part of our mastermind group that has expanded our awareness and you reaching out to me because you had this health fair coming. I was so inspired and we talked and we connected immediately. I love the passion and compassion that you have in your heart, that you are really so, so to you, mental health is very important. Health is important, being that you're doing the work that you do and really helping people to understand and bring awareness of the impact of mental health in our industry, right? Worldwide. And so we connected because you saw what I was doing, which is about textured hair, bringing awareness of the mental barriers, or I would say psychological implications that hair discrimination has on people with textured hair. And I'm clear that you were inspired about what it is I had to share. You introduced me to the health fair that you had coming up and what you're up to. And to me, that's how it magically has to be connected. What are your thoughts?
Yes. And what I love about this, and I want our audiences to know, is this is a worldwide group. And we all got together on the very first meeting. I talked and Tammy talked. And let me go back a little bit. This is in a mastermind with Joseph Rodriguez. There will be links to that in the show description below if you'd like to join us. But this is a worldwide flow-based community where we learned so much. It's just like a wealth of information and wisdom. And it's so synchronistic that Tammy was in Katy, I'm in Sugar Land, and we're just so really close when this is a worldwide community. There's people from all over the world in this community, and it was like definitely synchronistic. And the fact that Tammy works with human resources, which is something that I work with as well. And I work in corporate wellness, but she is also a PhD in psychology. And I want to talk a little bit about that as well, Tammy.
Okay.
I should call you Dr. Tammy because that's That's my friend right there. And yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And then also how you got your start in this and how you bring awareness to textured hair and the discrimination that could take place and the diversity that takes place. And I want to talk about that.
Okay.
If you like today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell so you never miss a video from me. Let's get back to the episode.
So a few things I'm hearing you say is talking about how basically my company got started. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, cool. Let's start with that. The Texture Me actually got started during the pandemic, right? One of the things I saw being in the industry and a lot of people start going natural. We start going natural in so many ways, right? Eating healthy and all that. And that was the thing about going natural. With this thing about going natural with textured hair start really booming in. And so I had already been natural myself, with meaning natural textured hair, right? The curly hair. And I started discovering some things as I was going through my journey of wearing my natural hair. And this is before the pandemic, mind you. And I saw there was, because of my psychology background, I knew that there was something going on, because when I would look at myself in the mirror, I couldn't be with myself with my curly hair. Like, I didn't think I was pretty. I just, I can't say that I think I was ugly, but I just didn't think I was pretty, and I couldn't embrace it because it wasn't long. It didn't look beautiful to me, And I'm like, this has got to be something. And Kathie, when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't really look in the mirror. I was gazing at myself in the mirror, just enough to make sure I pull my lipstick on right, my makeup on right, and be presentable, quote unquote. And so when I saw that for myself, I remember the day like it was yesterday. My daughter-in-law had send me a picture from our holiday trip. And oh my gosh, Kathie, when I saw my hair that day, I was like, wow, is that my hair? Oh my gosh. And I want you to know the curls, just the beautiful volume and bounce of my hair that I saw in my picture really touched and moved and inspired me. That I like, oh my gosh, if this is how this discovery impacted me, I wanted that for the rest of the world. And so going, like I said, with the pandemic, there was a lot of stuff about textured hair and knowing what I discovered for myself. And then I started having conversations with other people, because I'm also I'm a hairstylist as well by trade. And I started having conversations with my clients, and they too was experiencing that. I knew I had something, Kathie. I knew I had something that will make an impact. And so, then I hear about the Crown Act, the Crown Act is really an act issued out so people are not being discriminated because of the texture of their hair. And I can go on, so let me just answer that question. What do you want to, what was the next question? Did I answer your question on that one?
Yes, you did. But I want to go back to this because I can relate to what you're saying so much. And I think we all can on some
Yes.
certain levels.
Yes.
So, for example, I'm not a young spring chicken, but I'm like Joseph, where I don't believe in age. But also, I feel like when you were talking about that story, I could put myself in that story where there's certain things I see in the mirror and I just don't like it. So what I would really love to touch on is what went off in your head, because I felt that almost come through, that what went off in your head that said, hey, that's a beautiful thing. That's unique about me. And how did that come about? Because I think that's going to be really helpful for all of us.
Okay, thank you. So, because I want to go back to when I said I was gazing in the mirror. So I wasn't really looking. So, every day was a mundane thing, everything, you know what I'm saying? And something about that picture, when she sent that to me, I could see myself without the gaze. And then I embraced what I looked like, and I loved it. And, to say specifically what it was, I think the gaze, it's like the veil was lifted, And I saw myself newly, and I found a newfound love for myself and a newfound confidence for myself that no one could ever take away. That's what I got that day. And ever since then, woo, I've been on it and been passionate about this work.
Wow. I think the reason why you can't put it into words is because it is something that we can't even describe. It's more
Mm.
like a feeling, because I seriously can relate to that story so, so much. And it's kind of shifted my perspective on some things that I'm going through personally as well. And I'm like, I see that because I can see how that helps. That story is so helpful. It touches my heart because it's like
Mhm.
I can see that. So I kind of want to talk about the Crown Act and what that entails.
So, the Crown Act is creating a respectful and open world. The act was issued out in 2019 in the state of California, right? And it was issued out so people who really for anyone, but particularly people of textured hair or African descent, whereas kinky, coily, curly, and wavy hair, and people wouldn't be discriminated because of their hair. Discrimination would be like losing their jobs, getting kicked out of school, kids not graduating from school because how they wear their hair, and which is the natural state of where it is, right? And so where I fit in and relating to that, I bring the awareness of the correlation of mental health and hair, right? Because what happens is, you have these issues what the Crown Act is addressing, but what about the mental well-being of the impact it has on the individuals or society who are dealing with this discrimination? And I speak on, this young guy who was wrestling. It was a while back, and it was his championship, right? And a lot of people know the story. It was his championship, wrestling championship. And right before he goes to do the championship, the referee or judge said he has to cut his hair off or do something with his locks. Now, mind you, there's that part where this is a championship. So that means he's been wearing his hair like that for a while, right? Yes. And then after that, he worked hard to get here. So this is on national TV, Kathie. They go get some garden scissors or some type of scissors to cut his hair off on national TV. And you see he's crying because what choice does he really have? Because this championship means so much to him. But yet his hair is something that means so much to him too. And he went ahead and gets it cut. I mean, they're cutting it off on national TV. And so my thoughts are there's an impact on him and there's an impact on them, the kids in the event and people watching on TV. Who is addressing this issue where this kid is crying because he's judged by his hair? Can't do the competition. And so it's when I saw that, and I'm not gonna, I was very upset about it. I thought the impact that had, and then I thought about other children who are getting kicked out of school because of their hair, or people are losing jobs. And I, had the lens as a psychologist going there. I'm like, this is a lot of psychological impact, which had me to discover the concept called post-traumatic hair syndrome. And we'll talk about that on another event, but that's the psychological part to address this issue. And so once we have the Crown Act, which addresses the issue in itself with an act, the texture of me with post-traumatic hair syndrome addresses the psychological part of the mental well-being. So that's where the texture of me supports the Crown Act.
That story right there touches my heart, and there's so much to it. And I definitely want to circle back at some point in time about post-traumatic hair, because I have a diagnosis of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, so I can relate to that. But that story of the hair, I almost want to find that and link it in our show notes and description below, because I think awareness needs to be brought to that.
Okay.
So, what happened in the future? Like, let's say that happens now, today. Is it,
It's still happening.
What?
It's still happening.
It's still happening?
Yeah, just recently, the Crown Act was passed in Texas. And just recently, a kid could not graduate from school because his locks were too long. So it just happened. So they're having to revamp mm, the Crown Act, I guess the bylaws and everything. I don't know the terminology. That's not my thing. And but I don't know the particular terminology of what they had to do. But yeah, it's still happening. And yeah, that's just really. mm. And I don't want to step over this either because I know there's some other questions that you wanted answered as well. But that's why even like in the corporate arena, like we talk about mental health and what you even bring to this conversation is addressing the mental health aspect because that's one of the things that I think across the board is stepped over. You know, we're taught to go to work, come home, just the mundane things, but no one is talking about our mental health because our mental health really impacts our physical health. You know that with the work that you do, right? And so for the HR arena, you know, we're bringing the conversations around what mental health is, how to have a healthy mental health, and different aspects as far as even with hair, you know, just so many things that will make an impact as far as the productivity, first of all, the holistic well-being of an individual, and then as a corporate company, you know, supporting their employees, what a huge impact that can make, you know? So I just really thank you for the work that you're doing in that as well. And that's
Yeah,
why I feel like we talked about the HR aspect. It's important to have the services. That's why we came together to, you know, address that issue, which is, you know, speaking on diversity, equity, inclusion, right? And so really speaking to bring mental health awareness to the corporate world. And that's where we're doing the work that we're doing.
for sure. And I love how you touched on the fact that when your mental health is good, or even as a team, your productivity is going to increase. Your leadership is going to be more effective. Everything just comes together perfectly.
Mhm.
And it helps. I picture it as a triangle. So there at the top of the triangle is the leader taking care of the company, but it starts there and it trickles down to the team member
Mhm.
who may be suffering from something where they have that mental health awareness where it's talked about openly in the workplace. That's why I loved bringing you into our health fair, because by bringing this type of work into a health fair, which is
Mhm.
something that we just do, even we do wellness days inside the company once a month. But bringing awareness to this just gets people talking about it and making
Yeah.
them more aware, and and helping them to talk about it. Because as a white woman with straight hair, that I this doesn't even cross my mind. I don't even, it's not on my radar, but at the same time, I want to be there for those that maybe need to talk about it and be more open about it. So
Yeah.
I really cherish this type of thing, the connection that you and I have and how we both work together.
Mhm.
And from what I understand, you have a certification program that you offer to human resources. Am I right? Can we
Well, no,
talk?
we're actually, and thank you for saying that. We offer diversity, equity, inclusion training, and we're looking to offer the certification, but that's in process. So it's happening. And the certification that we do offer mm, is for cosmetologists or people in the beauty industry, because that's one of the big, I'd say, issues that in the beauty industry, we're taught how to do straight hair, but not textured hair, right? In its natural state. And so I saw that as a gap in the industry based on my research and being in the field, that I created accredited CE credits. It's accredited by the state of Texas. So what that looks like is a person in the beauty industry. We do CE credits every 2 years where they can take our textured hair CE credits and learn about textured hair. And even I have some information about post-traumatic hair syndrome in there as well, so they could be familiar about it. And take it and then get credit with CE credits from Texas. So, and it's the first ever of its kind. So it really was more about serving the community in regards to hair, because one of the things that's been an issue as well is people who have textured hair don't have hairstylists to go to because they don't know how to do their hair. And so then that's another impact they can have on people mentally. You know what I mean? Because, hey, we know we go to get our hair done and it makes us feel good, right? There's a level of beauty or handsomeness, as I would say. And if you have someone who doesn't know how to do your hair, what are you supposed to do? And so that's why we created our accredited CE credits, texture CE credits. Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that. Because I have a lot of friends who have mixed families and one of my friends is a hairdresser. And
Hmm.
so she's a hairdresser, she's white, but her daughter is in a interracial relationship.
Yeah.
And they have a little girl, and
Right.
she needs to know how to fix her hair because there are different things, that they need to consider. And it sounds like your certification might be right up her alley.
Yes, yes. And then we do have addition because that's for like professionals in the beauty industry, but then we do have our regular texture education for people who are not licensed. And because, and then we have advanced professional level texture hair education for those who would like to learn more about texture hair beyond the CE credits. So yeah, we're really about having people educated from a broad perspective on textured hair.
Yeah, because like even myself, I didn't know this was a thing. And in it going back to corporate wellness, this really I love the aspect of psychology that you bring to this because that's very helpful. And back to storytelling, even the story that you shared right there. What I also teach storytelling in the workplace and how to impact others by telling your story. Because that story, I put myself into that story and can see myself, especially that gaze, looking in the mirror. There's just things that we don't like. And, or maybe at certain times we're human. And that story just really like started this off just perfectly because who couldn't identify with that? And then second of all, who couldn't identify with being in a championship position? It's like you've worked so hard to get there. You've
Mhm.
been the same person the whole time, and then all of a sudden they tell you, I can't imagine somebody going, "Well, Kathy, your hair's just not right, so we're gonna have to do this right here on national television." How
Traumatic.
traumatic that is. And then I I'd love to see how he handled the championship in there. What happened? Because again, we can identify with that. And
Mhm.
I don't even think that these things take place. And by bringing awareness to it, it makes me very compassionate, very empathetic to the whole situation, which is an important skill in leadership, which needs to be incorporated into corporate wellness. And it helps with your productivity because imagine if that really affected him so much that he couldn't be as productive as he usually is. He's in a championship position. This is like putting somebody in a position where they have to deal with trauma and try to find their way to success. And it just seems like that's not fair and not right. But I love that we're bringing awareness to this now.
Yes, yeah. And, when you think about, the corporate arena, when you talk about mental health, Kathy, it's a great point of the holistic aspect, a person in the position, wanting to go into the next level positioning, and the company doesn't allow that person because of their hair. That's also part of research studies that, I'm going to be talking about in my future podcast that I have. And because it's really a big deal. And what we're bringing as in the space of mental health, it's a broad spectrum because it's the mental health well-being, which causes the holistic approach of well-being altogether. So yeah, I totally see. And that's why the diversity, equity, inclusion training regarding texture hair is so important because just like you said, It's a part where something even you get to learn. It's not just one-sided, it's across the board for everyone, and then the relatedness that we all have about our different levels of experience of discrimination, right? We all have something, and that this brings a level of compassion and understanding that we can actually, I'd say heal our mental health, at least be on the journey of it. And it's all part of a discovery that we're having for sure. And, I really appreciate platform and the insight that you've expanded on that provides, me to come and play with you, right? And be a part of this change.
Yes, I love that. And so, you know, I like that the conversation is being open, and even by recording this, it starts a conversation. Like maybe somebody will go, "Oh, I didn't know Kathie worked with this stuff," and hopefully they'll come to me with questions and come to you with questions, and we could start the discussion about it. And so I definitely see you coming back on the podcast again, so we can definitely share more tips and topics. And I'd like to talk about post traumatic hair.
Absolutely.
Maybe we could, I know we could probably talk a whole hour on that
For sure.
and just whatever. I mean, because kind of, I was a little bit triggered by that champion having his hair cut. The best thing I can say is we're bringing awareness to it, and let's get this topic out there, and let's share this and make our mental health a better place, especially in the workplace. And because if you think about it, we spend more time at work probably than we do with our families and at home. Might as well make it a good place.
Totally.
And like I like to say, we build healthy, happy teams one heart at a time. And that's where it all starts. It starts with your heart and with your health and your wellness. So, Tammy, thank you for being on here today. Where can people find you if they were looking for you?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. They can find me at all the social media links as far as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, The Texture of Me, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, and on LinkedIn, you can find me as Dr. Tammy White Jolivet. It may be under Dr. Tammy Jolivet, and it is right there with my name, right? They can find me on LinkedIn and again on the social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even Pinterest and TikTok at The Texture of Me. And my website is www.thetextureofme, and love to have you, your guests come and, sign up on our email list so we can share with about what's going on and what we're up to, because we're up to some big things. And, we would like to have the support of just everyone to be a part of this. So thank you, Kat, for having me.
Okay, good. And I will definitely have all those links in the show notes and description below. And thank you for watching today's episode. I trust that you found it helpful. And if you know somebody who can benefit from this episode, please share it with them. And until next time, we'll see you next time. All right. Peace out and namaste.
Namaste.